Good morning, everyone. How are we all? I hope you can hear me. I hope you can see me. I've got 9 attendees apparently. Good morning. So what we're going to look at today is the overview for design technology for the A level, and then we will sort of take any questions, run through the tasks for the summer work so that you're set up ready to go in September. So if we go through the PowerPoint, basically if you're doing A-level design technology, and if you've got any questions as well, just put them in the box as we go through. This is an overview to our the course and how it runs at the moment. Now obviously with COVID there may be some adjustments, but at the moment this is how it runs, this is how it works with your paper 1, paper 2 in year 13, and then your non-exam assessment in year 13. So very similar to year 11 that you've just gone through, but with 2 papers instead of just a 1. Year 12, therefore, we go through the theory for all of this really, but we don't do it just in terms of bookwork. We're going to do it in terms of practical application, so that when we're talking about materials, and their performances and their properties and their processing, we'll do that through practical tasks that you then write up. So it looks like a lot, and it's good that you do a lot of sort of background reading in your own time in your study periods, watch YouTube videos, etc. But actually when we're in the workshops, the projects that we'll be doing will bring this to life. Okay, paper 2 is more about designing, and so it's more NEA based. It's more about your design process, the theory of designs, the impact that design can have on society, the design process of going through a project, and sort of the investigation, looking at the needs of the consumer and the client, and that whole cycle where you come back to evaluating it at the end of the product and just saying, well, what would we do differently, and you almost begin that design cycle again. But it's also very iterative, so it's very sort of, we're not just leaving the feedback to the end, we're sort of checking in regularly as we go and adjusting as we need to go, so that we don't end up with a disaster at the end. We are actually checking in as we go along with our clients. So at the moment, the non-exam assessment, it's made up of these 5 areas, so very, very similar to GCSE. If you look at the weight distribution for your assessment objectives, same assessment objectives as GCSE, just slightly more weighting on the design, make and analyse, evaluate. Okay, so you still do investigation, still do design specification, just the weighting slightly differently. That might change depending on COVID. If we go into another lockdown, God forbid we don't, but if we do, those can be adjusted. They were this year, so it will be proportionate to what we can cover, but we're planning to be in school, so we're planning to keep things running as normal as possible. Right, so what do you need for the course? We will provide you with a textbook. You can buy this textbook if you want to. It's the AQA endorsed one, but at £30 you might want to save your money and use a loaned copy from school. You'll need a folder, an A4 folder for your theory work and your dividers for your theory work, or your independent reading and notes that you do outside a lesson that you bring to lesson. You'll have your A3 design portfolio, so that will be both electronic but also a physical portfolio as well. Everything that we send off is electronic ultimately, but you know, you're going to have a sketchbook as well for your design ideas and initial thoughts. Fine liners, colours, pencils, rulers, the normal sort of stationery and equipment, so that should be okay. There are a couple of things you could do. So the course book is in the lower half of this page, and the course book is the one that I showed you earlier, that's £30. There are also some good design venues in London, so relatively local. If you're going up that way, there are 3 places that you could go and visit. Design Museum, New Designers Exhibition, that's I think on this week, V&A Museum, and Unto This Last. Now if you can't get up there, these website links, they have very good sort of websites and investigation areas. Design Museum is really good. It's got educational areas. New designers will have all the graduate students from their university degrees there and have all their work showcased, so that's really useful. Victoria and Albert is obviously a classic, so there's everything from, you know, every era that you could look into. And Unto This Last is one of the companies that we're going to do a project on in year 12, where we look at their products. So they're CNC routed out of plywood, and they make furniture, and basically we mimic that but small scale using the laser cutter in year 12. So that's quite a nice interesting website to do a bit of background investigation if you're going into it. Right, so year 12, we're going to be looking realistically at getting you into the workshop quite early on, and doing some focused practical tasks. So these will be predominantly skill based around your woods, metals, plastics. We're going to be doing, like I said, a project based on Unto This Last, which is looking at use of CAD and CAM and modelling. So things like Onshape, SketchUp, 2D design, just making sure that with all the disruption that we've had, that you are feeling confident using those areas and producing work that demonstrates your ideas and communicates your ideas effectively. We'll be looking at inclusive design, so that is predominantly ergonomics, anthropometrics, and rapid prototyping. So you've got some photos of a page up there, but like blue foam modelling using plasticine, polymorph to kind of do quick modelling. They're not necessarily going to be pretty, but it's not about the prettiness of the product, it's about the grip, the ergonomics, the interaction, the handheld, whether or not that's effective. We also need to look at the history of design and designers. I'll come on to that in a bit. Your skills using SketchUp, Onshape, 3D printing, they all tie in together. Also TechSoft version 3, which is the new upgrade to 2D design, making sure that you've got the upgrade and the license so you can use that at home as well as in school. And then basically bringing together our materials that we use in school, making sure we haven't got any weak areas, making sure that, you know, if you've got an idea and you want to use a living hinge, you know how to use it. If you've got an idea and you want to cast in pewter, you know how to do it. And just like I say, year 12 is about short practical tasks of getting you familiar, getting you up to speed and competent in a range of areas, so that you can choose the best areas that you want to look at in year 13. So maybe using the bag press, where you might not have used that before, so where you're forming wood or plastic under heat and pressure, or using dye sublimation to print onto acrylics or timbers, depending on what you want to try and do. So year 13 will be the major project. So this is where you have to have a specific client. So this is very, very similar to year 11, but rather than us giving you a brief, you would come up with the brief and you will come up with the client. Same areas again, researching the design opportunities, really proving that you've got a viable product that's going to allow you to reach the higher level of grade boundaries, because, you know, it's got the sort of potential to be a really interesting product. You've got an A3 portfolio as normal and a final make. So that make, they call it in the MARC scheme a substantial make. So it's something that's taken you, guided learning hours, I think it's about 40 hours of you working on it. So not far off, a little bit more than the GCSE, but not far off that. So one of the works we're going to make you look at over the summer is what is iconic design. So when you get this PowerPoint and it's linked to you, do you know who these products are, or sorry, what these products are, who designed them and when they were manufactured? So if we were in class, we'd have a discussion about this, but I will share this when I've got a list of who's in the call today. I will share this with you so that you can have this PowerPoint. But do you recognise any of these products? Hopefully some of them are fairly iconic and fairly sort of commonplace, but others might be a little bit more unusual. But I would like you to find out who designed these products, what are they called, and when about were they manufactured. And I'll give you a clue, none of them have been manufactured this century, so they're all last century, as in the 20th century. So that's something we can look at and discuss when you come back into school. So that's one of your tasks. You should also have got a document that's got all the different courses in it, and this is your transition work. So with the technical principles, we've got 2 tasks for you to do. So the first is task 1 is to create a mind map for characteristics and the properties of these materials and the processes. So you're probably okay with wood, metals and plastics, but you might not be as confident with textiles, composites, smart and modern materials. So really look at the ones that you're not as strong on, because you don't need to, we're not going to be studying textiles, but textiles, composites and smart modern materials, it's useful to know how they come into the mix, really, because you can add them in a small part in your design. You can elaborate and expand the design by looking beyond woods, metals and plastics. You also need to be fairly happy with your production processes. So be that working in a workshop on hand tools and equipment there, or whether that is looking at sort of the more industrial levels of production processes that we've got on the right hand column of that table. So manufacturing processes would be injection molding, extrusion, laminating, milling, turning, casting and stamping. We can do some of those small scale in school, but the difference between what you do in school and what you do industrially when you're mass or batch producing is quite different. So for this course, you're going to need to know about the sort of school workshop processes, but also upscaling that into industry. So task 1, fairly obvious, fairly easy to do, like a mind map on your research, and then understanding, showing us that you understand the characteristics and working properties. So what do the different materials do well? In task 2, you need to create a PowerPoint, so for the right hand column of processes, and just try and find some diagrams or video clips that would show these processes taking place, so that if we talk about injection molding and I talk to you about the sprue and the hopper and the heated screw that goes through it, you're going, what's she on about? You actually understand that, or you have notes on that, or diagrams of that, or you've got there's an animation on Technology Student, for example, that you could get for most of those, and it shows you the process. Okay, so just have starting points with those. We don't need you to do like a 3,000 word essay, that's not what we're asking, but just the basic principles, so that when we see you in September, we can check in with you and make sure that this is, you're secure in this, you know what you're doing and you're happy with this, and you know, we haven't got any misunderstanding. If we talk about milling, we understand it. If we talk about the concept of turning, we understand it. Okay. The other task we'd like is sketching. So a lot of you have great ideas and then you go, oh, but I can't draw it. I'm not a confident drawer. So we thought over the summer holidays, as well as looking at design history with the iconic products, the theory of the processes and the application of the manufacturing, try and sketch. Okay, so in September, we'd like you to produce your sketchbook or sketches. Don't mind what it's about, but we would like to see some sketching in terms of, well, this was my first attempt, and don't throw them away if they're rubbish and they've gone wrong. Watch a couple of these video links about how to sketch and how to shade and how to render and how to make it look more developed, like an A-level piece of work, and just sketch and just grow with something. It could be a product that you're designing and developing. It could be that you're sketching objects from around your house, or you know, that you see in your day-to-day activities. But try watching these videos if you're not sure or confident, and look at how to elevate, I think is the way. I mean, most of you in year 11 could draw pretty well, but this is about elevating it and taking it to that A-level standard. And again, when we see you in September, we can review that work with you and say, right, that's really brilliant, you've got that technique, or let's look at this technique and refine it a bit more, because nobody, I mean, I couldn't draw well when I started A-level, but it's practice. With this one in particular, it's practice and just doing a little and often, to make sure that you grow in confidence and, you know, in your skills improve. So you will get there. So don't do the I can't draw bit, because practice over the summer will help. So those are your 3 tasks. The other thing I'd like you to do is obviously the designer products. The other thing we need to do is get those tasks together for your first lesson, but we also then need to look at designers and the work of others. So in the exams particularly, and when you're doing your NEA, you need to look at the work of others to help inform your design. So for example, you know, you get inspiration from a design that you like the look of and you want to design in that style. Okay, so what we would like you to do, what we're going to try and mock up, is a designer's dinner party, like Come Dine With Me, and you're going to choose one of these designers, okay, and choose one that from the box below that interests you, and we want you to have like a case study on your designer. So what are they renowned for? When some of them are alive, some of them aren't. So what was their sort of era of influence? What particular products were they renowned for? Some are architects, some are product designers, some are furniture designers. You know, so go into it, but also be prepared to have some questions asked about you as this designer. Okay, so really what we would say is, it's not like top trumps where you're trying to outscore each other, but if you had to like kind of have a kind of set of notes about who your designer is, what are they famous for, where's their work exhibited, or where are the buildings that they've built, or what are the materials that they used, or were they groundbreaking for their time. Okay, so really get some understanding of who it is that you want to look at. Some of these are really iconic designers, and others you might go, well, I've not heard of them. Okay, and then just practice being able to talk about these people in front of people at home, really, or in front of the mirror at home, and get into being able to talk fluently about these people. And then we'll kind of, we have to do a baseline on you when you come in, and we thought rather than doing a test on you, we'd see if you guys, like a written test, we'd see if you guys could take on this knowledge, take on this understanding, and hopefully if you choose a range of people between you in the group, then we've all got this starting point for these designers, so that we don't just know a lot about Zaha Hadid or Le Corbusier. We know about Dieter Rams, we know about Charles and Ray Eames, because people have chosen different topics to study, and then we've got a wide starting point. Okay, so this slide is just if you've got lots of time because you're not on holiday. There's plenty of information here, background reading, there's stuff on Dieter Rams's 10 Principles of Good Design. That's quite an interesting one to watch there, on the YouTube channel. There's a lot of really good lockdown lectures. There's so much out there, so have a look, find something that interests you. Those are good starting points, or the other design areas in the earlier slides. Right, so when I send this out to you, there are 12 more slides following this. I'll go through them quickly about some of those designers that we listed in that earlier page that we want you to take on. So what we need you to do, or what I need you to do, is go through these slides when you've got the time and identify this one designer that you're going to do as your summer work and look into in a bit more detail. Okay, so I'm going to go through these quite quickly, but so you can see the coverage that we've got, the sort of subheadings. So we've got David Agiab, who is an architect. So if you're interested in him, he's got his Twitter, he's got his Facebook account, Instagram. So he's interesting for his materials and he's interesting for his structures. So if that's your sort of vibe, then go with that. Zaha Hadid, you've probably seen from year 10. Obviously she's now passed away, but her architecture is still her, what they call it, practice is still running, so they still produce buildings there, so that could be something that you might be interested in investigating. Ron Arad, if you're going to do design at university, then this is one of the current kind of contemporary designers that's around at the moment. He's become quite successful recently. Who else we got? Neri Oxman, architect and inventor and a scientist, so might be your sort of thing if you like your biomimicry and your materials. Have a look, see if that interests you, see if that's someone you want to investigate a bit more. Mark NEWSON, he's quite influential, quite British, well, not quite British, he's quite prominent in sort of European design, even though he's from Australia, so but he is quite prominent in sort of design now, and some of his work can kind of filter through into other products design, such as Philips, the electrics company. You got Charles and Ray EAMES, husband and wife, and they're mainly chairs. If you like your chairs, yeah, have a look at this. There's lots on them, and there's lots of replicas, and places like John Lewis sell their work, but it's quite expensive. But it's still being produced today, but that might interest you if you're into that interior design element. Lonnie Johnson, if you've got a Nerf gun, or brother or sister's got a Nerf gun, this is the man who started the Nerf gun situation. So have a look into him if that's something that interests you. I can never pronounce this one. PATRICIA URQUIOLA. So Spanish designer, it's more ceramics, more sort of interior designs, but if that's something that interests you as well, as an area to develop, then look at that by all means. Dieter Rams, there are his 10 principles of design. He's worked a lot with Braun, if you're familiar with that company, but he is an industrial designer, so he designs products for mass manufacture. Okay, so he's, is he German? Belgium, I can't remember. Okay, but he's got a particular style, and that's filtered through into products that are in mass production at the moment. Florence KNOLL, if you know about seating, then sofas and things like that, she's a lady to investigate a little bit more. And again, time frame for when she was about, quite interesting in terms of when she was producing these designs and the longevity of those designs. Le Corbusier, he was an architect, but also he did furniture to go inside his buildings. Yeah, there's a lot of things you can say about him. There's a lot of information about him on the internet, and very sort of well-renowned architect and designer, really. And then Charlotte PERRIAND, 1927. So if you look at what she's producing in 1927, she's a little bit ahead of her time, and it might be something that interests you in terms of an industrial design process as well. And then what we're going to do is a designer come dine with me. So you're going to come to a dinner party, which will be your first lesson. You need to know a bit about your fellow guests so we can get into conversation and have this kind of case study. So probably no more than an A4 side of who you're taking on, what are you renowned for, key dates, key information, and have some questions that you might want to ask other people so that we can have this sort of flow of conversation between people. Okay, right, I'm going to escape out of there, come back to here. There we go. Okay, so I'm hoping that you've been able to see me and hear me through this, and that if you've got any questions, you are more than welcome to email me in terms of asking for any clarification. And once I've got the participants list, I will email you out a copy of the link for this PowerPoint, so you've got everything that we've gone through in a bit more detail, because I know in sort of 20-30 minutes it's a bit of a whirlwind, and you've probably had this for a couple of other subjects as well. Okay, so I'm just going to check the chat and any Q&A. Is there anything? No, no one's there. And show conversation. Yeah, a few technical glitches at the start, but sorry about that. The joy of the internet. Right, well, nice to have met you virtually. I hope that this has been interesting and inspiring, and if you find somebody that you really want to investigate and look at those, oh goodness me, full matrix, go away, and you find someone that you can investigate and do those summer tasks. If you've got a GCSE book still from year 11, a lot of that information that was the theory side of it with the properties and the processes will be in there, so you can start to use that in terms of bridging from year 11 into year 12. Okay, so yeah, and feel free to email me following this today, but hopefully this will be recorded, and I'll, like I say, send you out the link. Okay, thank you very much for your time. Have a good rest of your day, and look forward to seeing you in September for year 12. All the best. Bye bye.